Hi friends, my name is AtYourServiss. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator located in the USA. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you've visited before, I'm so glad you've come back. Today I do have a special card. This is a fun fold and it has a little surprise as well. So here's your fun fold feature. And then the little surprise is a little pocket that hides a little bookmark. So I want to show you how to make this today. There are a lot of steps to it, so I would kind of consider this to be an advanced fun fold. It's not really difficult to make. There's just a lot of steps to make it. So to start, I'll set that aside. Actually, I'll show you the stamp set that I've used to create that card. It also has a matching die set. It's called Delightful Wishes from Stampin' Up. And as you can see, it has a lot of different sentiments, wishing you were here, wishing you all the best, wishing you a happy birthday, lots of love, and wishing you well. So to get started, we are going to use a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock that measures 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 4 1/4, and it's folded in half. Now I say that because obviously most of the time you would fold your card in half, but this time it is actually important for the fun fold that you start with a piece of cardstock that is folded. So we're also going to start with a template, and the template measures 3 1/4 by 2.5. And then it's cut on the diagonal. So this was a square, and then I just cut it on the diagonal. And you'll notice that I've labeled it the fold side and the top side so that I don't get confused when I lay this down on my card. You're going to place that template in the upper left-hand corner, and then you can, if you don't have a scoring tool, you could score this with a bone folder and a ruler, but being that I do have one, and most paper crafters, I do think, or card makers, do have a paper cutter, and hopefully it has a scorer on it. So quit talking, Carolyn, and show what you're doing. So I've lined this up with the fold and the top, and then I'm going to line that, each of those points, with the channel on the cutting tool or the scoring tool. I'm going to close that. I'm going to remove the template. I'm going to take my score tool, my score blade, not my cutting blade, okay? And I'm going to score really hard on that diagonal. Then I'm just going to take this up. I'm going to flip it over. Now, I'm sure on the video you cannot see that line on the back, but I can. I'm going to be lining that up again with the channel, and I'm just going to reinforce that on the back so that I can see it on both sides. Now, like I say, you may or may not be able to see any of that on the video. I don't see it, but it's there. So the next thing we're going to do is, to create the fold, we're going to kind of fold this card backwards. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to get my bone folder, and I want to reinforce this top triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that back, and from the point where, if I put this here, you'll be able to see it better. From this point to the top of the card, I'm going to score that. So this is folded. This card is folded backwards, and we're just scoring from the tip of that triangle to the top of the card. When you close it, you'll so that it's not folded backwards, you're going to then burnish from that point down. So When the card is folded correctly, you're going from that point down. When the card is folded backwards, you're going from that point up. Okay? So this, in other words, is the inside of the card, and we're going to fold the bottom tip of the triangle so that you're going to be creasing along that score mark. Same on this side, okay? So it will look like that. All right, and then when you close it, whoops, you can close it like that, and again, burnish really well, especially that point, because that's thick right there. You've got 4 pieces of cardstock coming together right there. Okay, so that basically will be what your card is going to look like. Actually, this is the front side. And if you have any questions, just go back and watch that again. I know it's something different, and sometimes with things that are different, the first time we do them, they look really hard to do, but give it a try. I think that you'll be fine, and with a little bit of practice, you'll be doing that without any problem whatsoever. Okay, the next thing we're going to need is 2 pieces of basic white cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 4. I'm searching for my other piece, which I'm realizing is not with my supplies. I apologize for that. However, darn, I'm going to show you what I would do if there were 2 pieces here. So I'm going to take this one and pretend that it's not cut off on the edge. Okay, and basically all you're doing again is you're going to take that triangle and you're going to cut that top piece off. Now you can use your paper trimmer if you want, or you can just use a pair of your paper snips, which I'm going to do, being that I actually only have one of the paper, one thickness to cut through. I'm just going to do it by hand. Okay. And you're cutting off the, actually it would be this way, sorry, hope I'm not confusing you. When you put your paper in the paper cutter or using the scissors, you are going to be cutting the upper right hand corner of the basic white cardstock. When you close this, you're going to see this piece will fit here, and then the other piece will fit here. Now, optional, you can emboss this as well, which I have done. I thought it gave it a nicer look. And I've used the Scripty 3D embossing folder, which is unfortunately retired, but you can use any embossing folder or none at all, whichever you prefer. So the next thing that you want to do, by the way, is you want to save those triangles that you cut off. And isn't that funny? I thought for sure I had every supply I could possibly need for this card in here with me, but I don't see, oh, maybe there. Nope. Okay, I don't see the original triangle that I had cut off. So, I can, no, I can't use that one. Okay, we're just going to go, and I will, when I get to that point, I will find another triangle, because I know I had them, and now I don't. So we will just kind of play that part by ear, but I probably left it in the other room. Apologize for that. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is the same thing with a designer series paper. Now, the paper that I'm using for the Delightful Wishes card comes from that suite, and I don't have the name of it right in front of me, but I will put that, as I go back and edit the video, I will put that on the screen. Okay, so this piece is actually going to fit here. Okay, so this triangle, you're going to be wanting to cut the right hand corner of that off. Now, be careful when you're using these triangles that you're trying to match up this, okay? So you would want it to go this way and not this way, okay? So the long piece, the long side is going to go across the top. So I'm going to use my mini cut and emboss. We're going to use, let's see, how can I put this in here? That should work. So we are going to start with plate number 1 and plate number 2. We're going to take the front of the card, and again, if you want to emboss this, I actually recommend that you emboss it after you do this step, because putting it through the embossing it is going to press, die cutting it is going to press that design down. And I just realized this is not, I don't think, going to fit. It is not. I got to get my big shot, or cut and emboss. So I have my plate number 1, plate number 2, plate number 3, then my cardstock, and my die cut, which I am placing down in the bottom right corner. So you can see that very good on the camera, but you'll see it as it comes through on the other side. And then the last one is another plate number 3. Line those all up and roll that through. I'm going to roll it back, probably doesn't need to be, but so I know I've got a nice cut, we will go ahead and do that. Alright, and there is the outcome. So I also want to do that on this piece. So I'm going to keep that same sandwich, and I'm going to put this designer paper in on top of the base plate, the number 2 plate, the number 3 plate, then the designer paper, and then the die cut. Now this die cut, we want to be more up in this area, and you don't even have to do this, I just thought it was pretty. So I wanted to use the little die cut to just give it a little bit more fancy to it. Okay, so again, the base plate, the number 2, the number 3, the designer paper, the die cut, and the last one is the number 3 plate, and then I'm going to put that through. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. Alright, I'm going to set this aside for a moment. And bring some of our components back in here. This one we're going to still stamp, so I'm going to put this one aside. But this one we can actually glue, and we can actually glue this one as well. Okay. Oop, oh. I thought that was a drop of glue, but it's not. It's just a piece of paper. So again, this one's going to go on the left inside of the card. This one, try to give that another good crease. There we go. And then this one is going to go on the outside, and it's ready to be glued down as well. And you can see there's a pretty good margin around the edges here. So you know, a lot of times when we're making cards, it's more like an 1/8 of an inch. This is a little larger than that. It's perfectly fine. Okay, and then we can also add these 2 triangles. Now, if you embossed the front, if you want to use that same embossing folder on these 2 pieces that are going to go in the inside of your card here, you can do that. I'm not going to, just for the sake of time today, but because these are full on size, because we just cut them off of those corners on that card front, then these need to actually be cut down a bit. So I am going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to take 1/4 of an inch off the top here. So I'm going to take both, I've got both of these triangles on top of each other. I'm going to line them up with the 1/4 inch mark, and then I'm just going to cut that off. That way they'll fit that inside triangle a bit better. Okay, so again, another tip is if you decide you are going to emboss these, they do go in the opposite direction. Just keep that in mind. If you don't have a directional embossing folder, it won't be any big deal, but if you do, like the Scripty, you're going to want to take that into consideration when you emboss it. Okay, so this one we're just going to put right here. And the other one to the left. Okay, I think that looks pretty even. All right, now with the final piece of white, basic white cardstock that's going here, we want to stamp on it. Now you can stamp with just, you know, get the stamp and stamp it. However, I did this card for a class, so to make things easier, I did use my Stamparatus. I know this is not available any longer, but you may already have one, or you could also purchase what they call a stamp positioning tool. There are several out there, so you know, feel free to use one if you'd like, or if you want, you can just obviously stamp by hand. Now I'm noticing I don't quite have this set up the way I thought I did, so I'm just going to move this a little bit. I want that message to be basically right there. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to pop some magnets on there, keep it from moving around. I'm going to use some old olive ink, and I'm just going to ink that up. So this actually says, wishing you a happy birthday, but there's so many different ones that you can use in this set. I've actually, one of my customers decided she wanted to use this as an Easter card, so she just put wishing you a happy, and then she used a different stamp for the word in place of the word birthday. Okay, so that's good. We're going to use this again in a bit. Set it right up there. And then we're going to, I've left enough room for you to write here. And I'll close this up. We're just going to glue this down. So as I said in the beginning, this card does have a lot of steps to it, but it's not a difficult card to make. Well, my customers always tease me that every time I say that, it turns out that it is a difficult card to make, but I personally don't think it's difficult. Okay, so there's your inside for now. We are going to decorate the top piece here. But we're gonna do a few other things first. So one of the things that I want to do is we're gonna make the flowers that we're gonna decorate this card with. So you can make this really simple, and you can make, bring this in so you can see the flowers. You can make these flowers just using Daffodil Delight and Peach Pie cardstock. But for me, it was so bold that I wanted it to be more subtle. So what I decided to do was take my Daffodil Delight, or actually no, did I use? Yeah, I used the Lemon Lolly. And no, I take that back. I used Lemon Lolly on something else. I used Daffodil Delight, which I didn't bring in here. Okay, we're going to use Lemon Lolly. Solve that problem real quick. Okay, Lemon Lolly and a brush, blending brush. And I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper here. I'm just going to lightly color this piece of cardstock. Now, Lemon Lolly is a lot lighter than the Daffodil, so actually, if you're going to make this at home, I recommend the Daffodil. I think it'll give it a bit more depth, but because I didn't want to stop the video to go get mine, I know this will work. But another thing I've noticed with this card is a lot of times we're taught to take that blending brush and go around in circles, but I feel that causes white circles actually when you do it that way. So I tend to start off sometimes with there's something on my paper with circles, but then I like to just go back and forth like that, fill in any white space. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then let's see if this is glue. I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't think it'll be a problem because we probably won't even use that part. But now that I've got good coverage on my paper, I'm going to close up the Lemon Lolly and bring in the Peach Pie. I love this color. It's so pretty, so pretty. And then with this, I'm not really going to go over the entire piece. I'm just going to kind of highlight it. So I start off really light and then just kind of randomly add a little tiny tint of the Peach Pie. I think you can probably see this on the video. Just sort of randomly coloring it in. And again, like I say, You can always just use the cardstock that's already colored for you, but it will be a lot, the images will, the flowers I should say, will be a lot bolder doing it that way. Okay, so now I want to bring in my mini cut and emboss. Okay, so what I like to do also, being that I'm not just using the plain cardstock, but I'm using basic white cardstock that I've added color to with my blending brushes, I want to add a bit more of the peach pie to the top pieces. So bottom piece, oops, there's another one. There we go. And then these top pieces, I'm going to bring my scrap paper in again. I'm going to put those on the scrap paper. I'm going to bring in my pumpkin pie. Okay. Oh, there it is. It's crazy how you can lose things that you just had 2 minutes ago, but yeah, it works that way. So, bringing back my, get some of this out from underneath my paper. Okay. Bringing back in these more detailed ones. Let's see if you can see that better. Okay. And, oops, just stuck my finger in the ink. And then I'm going to put some more ink from the peach pie back on the blending brush and just give this a little more color. That doesn't, you don't have to fill it in, you don't have to make it bright orange or, you know, anything like that. Just a little bit more subtle color is what I was aiming for. Of course, you know, this is your creation, so obviously you can do it however your taste, whatever your taste happens to be. Why do I only have one of those? Oh, I see why. Because that's exactly what I did. Okay, I'm going to need one more, I think. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm right. Okay, I think that's enough. And put that away. All right, I'm just going to poke out. I know a lot of people, they don't actually come back and poke these like out. They leave them in, but I'm not one of those people. I like them to all be poked out. So I'm just going to take a minute to do that. You could also use a little brush from your pick tool if that's a little more handy for you. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to layer those on top, whoa, on top of these. So let me move this out of the way. Okay, so we've got this big one, and there is a trick to this. There it is. Okay, so can you see these two that look a lot alike? Those two right there? Those are the two I put together, and then I line up the rest. I think that's pretty much, make sure I've got that in the right spot. Oh, no, I don't. I'm sorry. Take that back. No, it wasn't those two. Please forgive me. It's these two. This one and this one that match up. There we go. Okay, and then once you get those two matched up, the rest of them will kind of go together, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to get my glue. Put a little bit of glue all around the edge. There's one that didn't come out. Yep. And I have a little tiny bottle that I fill actually with this Tombow glue for doing these little pieces. And if it's in my it's in my studio, unfortunately, not in my office. Okay, so what did I say? These two here. Yep. Go together. Okay, and then these are a little easier to line up. They're pretty noticeable about which ones line up. So these two that are pretty wide apart right here, they go with these that are pretty wide apart there. So like that, okay. All of a sudden I looked up and I was like, oh, I hope I'm still recording. That would not be good, but it's happened. So I was trying to double check and make sure you guys can still hear me and see me. All right, that's good. And then we're just gonna line that up like that. That one's good to go. Now on this video, I know I used to do videos a long time ago, and I know there was a feature somehow or another that you could speed up through these kind of detail pieces that, you know, you don't really have to want your customers to have to watch you painstakingly add this stuff. But the last time I did a video and I tried that feature, I couldn't find it, which was really annoying. But I will look again at this one. Maybe I can find it and speed this part up. If I can't, please hang in there with me. Okay, so there's the 3 flowers. And then we also need about 6 leaves to do this project. So 1, 2, and 3. And then there's 3 on the inside. Oh, whoops. Let me go back out here a little bit. Okay. So there's 3 on the inside, and there's 3 on the outside. And then you can see right here, this little, looks like a stem. There's not one on the inside. So there is a stem that comes with this. It looks like so. And I just used pieces of it. And then the other thing that I did was and again, you would not have to do this. This is just a little bit extra piece that I did, but I thought it added so much. I'm not sorry that I took the time to do it. So I cut out the leaves. Let me get 6 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I also cut out the stem. Okay, and then after I got them cut out, I ran them through the embossing machine with the Timber 3D embossing folder. Oh, the lights might be messing with you. Okay, there we go. So it's like a wood texture. And I thought it added so much to the leaves and the stem, but it is an extra step, which obviously we wouldn't have to do if you don't want to. All right, so we're going to bring in the card front, excuse me, and the flowers. Okay, now what I like to do is I just kind of like to place them sort of randomly where I think I'm going to want them. So, oh, I've got glue on my fingers now. Everything wants to stick to me. Okay, we're gonna make this work. Okay, so I glued this one down. Let me zoom back in a little bit more. There we go. I glued this one flat down. These two are up on dimensionals. Just make sure I got them here. Yes, I do. All right. And then the stem, I think what I used on this one was this piece. I'm going to cut it so you can see it better. That piece right there. Okay, so it went under here, and then these were situated like that. And then the leaves, you're going to want to put those down. Something on this. Little piece of something, there we go. You're going to want to put the leaves and the stems down first. So try to kind of place those where you think you're going to want them. And then we'll work on the rest. So I'm going to put this one here, roughly, this one here. I think that'll work. That should work. And then I just want something to hold this card down while I work. There we go. All right, so I'll move this out of the way. Leaf number 1. And it would really help if I had my tweezers in here, which I don't, but we're just gonna go for it. Okay, so there's 1, and then my stem's gonna go about right there. Okay. Oh, I'm not on the camera, so sorry. I was just gluing the stem. And so we're going to try to put that roughly, I'm going to say right there. And then this flower, about right here. And then bring in the dimensionals. Oh, no, I need to put this leaf down first. Actually, you know what? I am going to put the dimensionals on the back first. And that way I can kind of play with, make sure that I have the stems right where I want them before I go too much further. So dimensionals on back of both of these. Okay, that's going to go there. That's going to go there, roughly. Okay. And this one. Oh, I already had one there, but that's okay. All right, so if I put that one there, let's try this one here. And then, again, I've got sticky fingers, everything's sticking to me. Take the dimensional off. I just put one dimensional on the back, it should be fine. I'm going to place that one like right there. That should go good. Oops, nope, a little bit more over. Okay, there we go. And then this one. Okay. Okay. Coming together, so pretty, pretty, pretty. Then I added a few gems. Now, I am a big saver of gems, so I've got a lot of them. I don't always use the ones that are current, but use whatever you have that you think goes well with this card. I'm using the Old Olive out of the Noble Peacock rhinestones. But I also noticed these would go pretty as well. I'm not sure whether these are still available. The Champagne Rhinestone, Basic Jewels. But just whatever you happen to have. I mean, I know during a a season of the catalog, I cannot use all of the gems that I have bought out of any given catalog. Because I buy a lot of them because they just add, in my opinion, they add so much to the card. So we're going to go, how about there? I like that. All right, so the basic front now is all done, and we're going to work on this piece right here. Okay, so now we're going to set this aside for the moment. We're going to bring in again my Stamparatus. The Stamparatus just works really nice, or any stamp positioning tool works really nice for two-step stamping, which is what we're going to be doing with this particular flower. So this is what we're doing, just to remind you. Okay, we're going to make those flowers. And we're going to use lemon lolly and peach pie. So I'm going to put this in here. Grab that there. And yep, that should work. So first I'm going with the lemon lolly. Again, you do not need a stamp positioning tool to do this. Just let me say that right out front. You can do two-step stamping with just regular acrylic blocks like you're used to stamping with normally. So don't let this, oops, that didn't work. I forgot I had that in there. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so let me see here. I need to pan out a bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to ink these up. So I'm inking up the solid one. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to use the peach pie. Flip this over. And use the peach pie on the detailed stamp. Okay, I think I want to do that one more time. Press down a little bit more and get a better image. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Seems like there's something, oh, there is something missing, but I don't really think so. The magnet's getting in the way a little bit on that particular. But I don't think I'm even going to use that, so I'm not going to be worried too much about it. All right, so then we're just going to move that. Close this. And we're going to bring in the little mini cut and emboss machine again. And this die. Okay. So you're probably getting pretty used to this layering now. They call it a recipe. So it's number one, plate number one, plate number two, or some people call it a sandwich, then your cardstock, then your die cut, if you need a little piece of tape to keep this all in place, you can do that as well. I think I've got that pretty well situated. Was I in the camera? Okay, I guess it wasn't. I was like, was my head just in the way? And then another number two. Staggered, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Okay, rather than to put these on top of each other, straight up on top of each other, it's better to stagger them. I could not think of that word when I was trying to explained that before. Okay, then you're just going to go through. I hope I'm not alone in that. Then I'll be like, oh, what is that word I want? I just sometimes cannot think of it. Okay, then you're going to get, you'll notice these are separate. So they're cut. It cuts, actually 5, one's still in there. 5 different flowers. We're not going to use all 5, but we are going to use, I think, 3, if my memory serves me correct. Let's see, where's my sample? 3. Okay, so we're using this one, and this one. Okay. And these can just be used on another project. You could put them on your envelope, wherever you choose. All right, we're going to bring this card back in. We're going to bring 3 leaves back in. And obviously you can place these however you'd like. Oh, it looks like I did use a little piece of stem on this one as well. So let me see if I can find that one I just had. There it is. Yeah. All right. We will make the little surprise bookmark that goes in the pocket that we are going to create. Okay. Now, what you're going to need to make the pocket is a piece, I think this is 5 1/4. Nope, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And remember that little piece that I told you to save that we cut off from here? Right here was like this way. We're going to flip it over and we're going to attach it to the top of this card base. Actually, we want it to come down a little bit, and we want the long edge to the top. Okay. So keep in mind you want to leave a little border so that it'll match the rest of the card when we get it all put together. Okay, we're just going to set that aside for a moment. And then we're going to get out some ribbon. Now, again, I'm using up some ribbon that I had from quite a while back. But there's some really, hold on, excuse me. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. That came on totally unexpected. There is some really pretty 1/8 inch Daffodil Delight ribbon right now available. And you could substitute that or anything else that you happen to have in your stash. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, oh, let me give you some measurements. Okay, so you want a piece of Daffodil Delight that measures 2 by 5 1/4, and a piece of basic white that measures 1 3/4 by 4 3/8. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use a punch to create a decorative top. Now, this is one that I've had for a while, but you can use whatever you have, or you can make your own. You know, just clip off the ends here would be fine. But being that I have this fancy dancy one, I thought, why not use it, right? So I'll put that in there and punch that out. All right. Then I'm going to again use my blending brushes, my Lemon Lolly and my Peach Pie, just to color that. I didn't want it stark white. So again, just going to quickly add some color to this. I just think like you can use the stark white, especially, if you're not into a lot of detail, you just want to make a pretty card and get it done. You're not really like all that into the process of if it looks stark white or not. But when I tried it, I just didn't like the look, so I decided I was going to copy what I did with the flowers and just add a little bit of my own color to it. So randomly just kind of adding color. Doesn't have to be a lot. Definitely random is good. I'm happy with that. Close these two back up because I'm not brave to leave them undone, because I will definitely stick my hand or my project in it. All right, so then I'm just going to, actually we're going to go ahead and stamp. I'm using, let's see, I'm using a stamp out of the Tasteful Textures stamp set. But you could use anything, just something appropriate, for a bookmark. Mine says, take time to do what makes your soul happy. And I thought that would be the perfect idea for a bookmark. Okay, I'm going to put it sort of towards the top. Okay, then I'm also going, oops, I need that. I'm also going to use this, I call it a little sparkler. You can't really see it, but you'll see it once I stamp it. It's also in the Delightful Wishes stamp set. Maybe I can show you on here. It's this little guy right there. Okay, and with Peach Pie, I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkles. And then maybe one down here. Okay, and then I'm actually going to come back in with this. Running out of space here. And my Stamparatus. Oh, that's not my Stamparatus. That is my paper cutter. Stamparatus, there it is. I'm going to take this, set this back up again, and I'm going to stamp those flowers this way on the bottom. Oh, that's interesting. I've got that there, but I'm not going to use that. All right, I'm just going to put this here. Oh, it goes this way. So I'm just stamping those flowers across the bottom. And I'm going to need to put magnets on them so they don't move, being that I am using a two-step stamping. Oh, magnets slightly in the way. And I think I want to come over just a bit this way. Okay, let's try that. Yep, okay, like that. Okay, so the first is going to be the Lemon Lolly. And it's on the solid part of the two-step stamp. Yep. And then flip it. Bring in my Peach Pie. Okay, I think I like it just like that. So let's take these out, this out of here, and put that in there to keep that clean. Oh, didn't mean to make all that racket. All right, we're getting there. I'll close these up. Actually, now that I look at that, I probably should have stamped the flowers first and then done the little sparklies, because I'm noticing I've got a little sparkly down in the corner, down inside the flower. Not that that makes a big deal, but to a perfectionist it would be a big deal. I am not one of those. Definitely not a perfectionist. I mean, I like things to be right, but if they're a little bit not right, I'm okay with that. And I would think probably the recipient of this card would be okay with that as well. So I'm just going to add this to my bookmark. Then I'm going to take some white twine. Now, you can make this easy if you want. Again, here's another step that I kind of made it a little more difficult. So you could just lace this through, bring this around, bring the two ends through, and go like that. Okay, easy peasy and done. Or I'll show you the alternative, even though I won't do the alternative just for time's sake. The alternative would be bring those to the Daffodil Delight ribbon through the hole, but then tie it with a piece of twine, just to give it a little bit more something something. Okay, so we've got the bookmark ready. Now let's bring this back in, see if I can, oh, it's still damp. I don't think I can erase that yet. So that's okay. I think I can still make this work. Actually, you know what? I think maybe if I try to get some of the excess off that way. All right, so you're going to bring this piece in that we've worked on before. And I recommend using tear and tape on this part. You are only going to add tear and tape. Why does that not sound right all of a sudden? You're only going to add tear and tape to the bottom, the side, because you're going to make a pocket. And how's that? Everything going here. Yep, and there. Not here. Okay. But you can add it here. All right. Bone folder, just to release the cover tape. I never know what to call things sometimes, but you know what I mean. The tape on the top. You want to release that. Okay, and then you're going to, I'm going to do this without sticking the inside. I think we're good. You want to line this up. So you're going to put this right on top. There's no margin. It goes right on top of the back piece because they measure exactly the same, 5.5 by 4 1/4. Okay, that should do the trick. Okay, and then your little bookmark, it's going to slide right in that pocket. How fun is that? Okay, and then you can, I'm going to trim these up. I don't have my ribbon scissors in here with me, but I would trim these up a bit. And there you have it. There's your card. Isn't that cute? Now, yes, there was a ton of steps to get this done, but I totally think it was worth it. And I'm really happy with this card. I am not the original designer of this card. I did get the idea from another demonstrator, so thank you, Patty, for all your awesome creative ideas. And I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, I hope if you're on my YouTube channel, if you would subscribe and give me a thumbs up or a comment. I've recently learned, as I'm kind of new to YouTube, in that I don't do like so many videos like a lot of demonstrators do, but I did actually have one that kind of went viral. And I was like, wow, that one card's got like over 1,000 views. My other ones have like 60. So I wonder what that is. Well, I realize that the more comments that you get on a card, the more YouTube will show your card. So I'm asking everybody, if you like this card, please comment and help me to get some more exposure on YouTube for my little channel. I would appreciate it. And if you like this, I hope you'll come back and visit me. I am going to be doing one more. Right, one more fun fold with the delightful wishes, and then I've already done one about 3 weeks ago or so with the same stamp set, or the same bundle I should say. So check them all out and see if you like them, and if you do, please comment. I would just love your support. So did I even introduce myself in the beginning? I think I did. Yes, I did. But here's my information as well. AtYourServiss, AtYourServiss, and my Facebook page, my online store, my email, and my motto, take time to stamp. It's good for the soul. Until the next time, have a great day.